Hey, Walter, my man, it's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for the invite and good being with you, Elisha, here today.
Beautiful, beautiful, and thank you so very much for being here. And you see, oftentimes, Walter, I love to thank my guest for two things, and I do this so often to the point where it has become an anthem for me. So, firstly, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invest in yourself. And oftentimes, my man, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some months back, I was on a particular road, Walter, and just by the roadside, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Walter, just recently, I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. Then immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, my man. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely moment that day. I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Walter that you are today, that alone has made it really impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, the impact your work is having, your philosophies, your insight, how you're offering your solutions. This stuff's so beautiful. And just before you got the request from me, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things what I is doing, not only me now, but even the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Walter. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thank you so much, my man. Thank you.
Thank you, Elisha. And I love mangoes and your analogy, and that's wonderful.
Beautiful. I love folks who love mangoes. Awesome, my man. So let's get started. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today, Walter, for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, Walter, ever since, and not just knowledge now, but the application of it. And ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very, very important to me and even to the listeners. The second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing Walter on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, Walter, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, high opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Walter, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, my man, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Walter got here, and afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Walter, my man, over to you.
Thank you. And I so appreciate the distinction that you're making between information and what I think as transformation is what we do with that information that we get. And that can be a good starting point to how I am doing what I'm doing right now. So I am a life and language coach, and I help people create their futures across cultures and languages. And this started more than 15 years ago as a passion for learning and skill building. I used to study psychology at university, and at some point I had a learning crisis. I was passing exams, getting I was doing well externally at university, and internally I knew that I wasn't learning. There was not much that I was doing with that information that I was getting. There was not much transformation occurring inside myself. And I started researching how can I learn better. And that took me on a rabbit hole on learning how to learn, on skill building, learning languages on my own, then becoming a piano teacher, and eventually doing the work that I'm doing right now in helping people how to learn to live their lives in a different way that is more conducive to what they really want, and doing that in more than two languages, can be multiple languages.
Awesome. That's a beautiful one you're doing. And you made use of one of my favorite words, help. You see, folks who are so concerned about helping others with their solutions account them as very, very good people. And that's one of the traits of a true leader. So thank you for the wondrous stuff that you're doing. It's amazing. So let's start from where you stopped, okay? Let's begin from the language part. So what mindset shift help high performers become confident language learners? Should I repeat?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let me repeat that. Okay. So I said, what mindset shift help high performers become confident language learners?
Okay. One of the mindset shifts that has been valuable with the people I work with is acknowledging what they are really good at and seeing that how this already applies and how they can use that when they're learning a language. I will give you an example. Now I'm working with a person. He's great at sales. He's a VP of sales. The company he's in the crypto industry, and he's American. He's learning Spanish, and he he wants to develop more confidence and being more at ease when he has conversations in Spanish. And this is important for him because he lives in Puerto Rico, and his environment and the community he is working at, and his neighbors, his friends, his circles are Spanish speaking people, even though many of them speak English. And the question was, how does it work in your work as a VP of sales? He's great at sales. And people who are very good at sales, they're good at communication, and they're very good at creating rapport. They are very good at putting people at ease. They're very relaxed. This was something that I noticed since the first moment that I started interacting with him. I noticed he's very relaxed. And something that opened up for him was, maybe this is also available when I'm speaking Spanish. I'm already good at communication. I'm great at creating rapport. And maybe this is also available to me when I'm having conversations in Spanish or potentially in other languages. That's one of the shifts that I think can be valuable, acknowledging the talents and the skills that we already have, that we are already using. Of course, we can develop more and we can acknowledge what we are doing well right now.
I got that. I got that. And thank you for sharing that with us. So what about this part? Does someone's identity, does it like affect their language learning journey? Like one's identity?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the idea we have of ourselves that greatly impacts our skills and what we are doing in the world. And I will give you an example in terms of personality. People who see themselves as introverts or extroverts, that can have a big effect on the results that you're going to see in terms of when you're practicing your output skills. There's one thing if I see myself as an introvert who I'm not good at speaking with people, or that I'm shy, even though there's a difference between introversion and shyness, being an introvert and being shy. I won't go there. And to put it more in general terms, people who see themselves as introverts and like they are not feeling like speaking or being social, sometimes they might need, or they might be helpful to revisit that identity in service of getting the results that they say they want in their language learning. If I say that I want to be able to have conversations in Spanish, maybe I could practice being a little bit more extroverted.
That's so true. I got that. So you see, I'm very, very interested in this language learning stuff because um, I tried to learn some languages, but you see, I'm still trying to find my way around it. This is what's the word? Forgotten the name of the language, but it's being spoken in the Philippines. All right, I've got a friend there who's trying to teach me. It's been a beautiful journey so far, but I'm not still familiar with many words like that. So the question is, how can language learning help with personal growth and not just communication?
I believe it can help a great deal in personal growth. Language learning, in my experience, has been one of the ultimate personal growth experiences, and there's so much growth and so much challenge and discomfort in the process of language learning, and that helps us become more resilient persons and develop more strength, inner strength. We can develop courage, we can develop our memory, we can develop so many skills. It's one of my favorite skill building projects to foster personal growth. When we are learning a language, we are dealing with some technical stuff. We need to learn the vocab, we're learning the pronunciation, and I love that part. Personally, I really like learning like the pronunciation, the sounds of the language that I'm practicing. The more technical part, I can learn how to increase my comprehension. And then if I want to interact with that language, I need to find ways and create ways that are in service of talking to people. How can I, and I will, is possible most of the times. It's very messy at the beginning, and it's clunky and it's uncomfortable. How are we dealing with that? And what are the lessons that we can take about that, about being comfortable in discomfort when we are learning something and when we are stretching ourselves? How can we take this to other areas in our lives? I think there's huge opportunity for learning and growth.
That's so true. So let's get personal a bit. How many languages can you speak?
I speak 5 languages and I'm learning my sixth.
Oh,
I speak English, Spanish, German, Italian, Portuguese, and right now I'm learning Thai.
wow. So how do you say how are you in Spanish?
¿Cómo estás?
Hmm. I will not try to say that. Please say that again. ¿Cómo
¿Cómo
estás?
estás? ¿Cómo estás? Very good.
¿Cómo
Nice.
estás?
Nice work. ¿Cómo estás?
Oh yeah.
You're good. You're
Okay, okay.
good,
Let's try.
Elisha.
Let's try one. Let's try.
Yes.
Let's try one more. What about what is your name in Spanish?
¿Cómo, cómo te llamas?
Say that again.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te
Nice.
llamas? Oh
Wonderful.
yeah.
And you did it with Argentinian Spanish. Is that Argentinian Spanish
Ooh.
accent? Wonderful.
Oh wow. Okay, I think I love this.
That's great.
Nice one, my man. So let us, yeah, thank you, man. Let's look at it from this angle. What about those ones who say, I think I'm too old or I'm not talented enough to learn a language? What would you say to people like,
I would say that might not be entirely true. And proof of that is that there's neuroplasticity and that we are still able to learn a new language and we are able to learn new skills way in our 70s, 60s, 70s, and beyond that. It's entirely possible. And science proved this. And sometimes what I see is that people tend to cling to these ideas or notions that it's not going to be so good as when we are babies, or there's something I lost entirely, and there's something that is not available anymore because I'm 12 or because I'm 15 or because I'm 25. And people sometimes they sell themselves short very early. We do that even in our later years as well, in our beyond our 60s or 70s. And I reading a series of graded readers for Spanish learners, and many of my readers are people who are in their 60s and beyond, and they are dealing sometimes with ideas about what's learning supposed to be according to what the school says. or certain type of learning, certain types of performance, or maybe I need to pass a test. And what I see in the world, something that is very widespread, is that there are certain ideas that we're buying, and we are we believe into these ideas because that's what we've been told. Sometimes we don't challenge that. There's a great author that I really admire. His name is Mervyn Brown, and he had a method for learning languages in a natural acquisition process. And he even created this school where he will let people just practice listening comprehension and at a very graded level. So they wouldn't be allowed to write in the language or to look up words in the dictionary or to speak. They were encouraged just to practice comprehension for a couple of years. And it's like how babies learn the language, right? Our native languages, or how children learn the language. The thing is that that's available to us, and we don't do that because we get in the way, or because we feel like we're smarter than that, and we should be able to speak from day one. And maybe sometimes that might be the way to go, and there are many ways. I'm not saying there's just one way of learning a language. And people are complaining that they are not young anymore, and at the same time, maybe they're not willing to do what they were willing to do when they were kids. And there are many reasons why this happens.
I got that. And thank God for folks like you with the amazing work you're doing, helping folks like them. Awesome. So to bring this to an end, Walter, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who would like to reach out to you, join your programs, learn more about everything we've discussed so far, how can that be possible?
Yeah, so I also have a podcast, and it's called Poder Aprender. And even though the name is in Spanish, I'm publishing at this moment. I'm publishing episodes both in English and in Spanish. So I'm alternating languages. So that's one place where you can hear more about the content that I have to share about learning, personal development, and beyond. And there's also my website, walterfreiberg.com. It's like my name, my full name with .com. And you can find me on some social medias like LinkedIn. I'm present there. And yes, and reach out if you have a question or there's anything I can help with.
Beautiful. So you've got any final thoughts to leave the audience with?
Yes. So circling back to the question that what you mentioned at the beginning, I want to just to highlight the possibility. There might be a difference between information and transformation. There might be difference between learning about something and actually doing something. And that's where usually transformation comes from. When we are talking about books, the difference between reading about writing a book and actually writing a book. And I know that you're in the audience, there are many authors, and transformation comes when we start taking actions, stop learning about the thing, and start actually doing the thing. So that's my final encouragement.
Profound words. I love that. Profound words. It's not just about acquiring the information, it's about applying it. Beautiful. I got that. So that's going to be the end of the show, my man. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this beautiful stuff with us. The languages and all of this stuff are beautiful. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Elisha. You are so warm interviewer, and I appreciate this conversation, our time together.